Resources. We're a specialist recruitment company and we deal with IT and financial skills in the Maltese market. Now, today I'm here just to speak to you about how to write your CV and to give you an idea of what sort of things the clients will be looking for when you go out there to try and get some work experience, which I'm sure most of you are finding tough, especially when you're trying to look for summer jobs and you have nothing to put on your CV. So I'm going to show you a few ways of how you can sort of get yourself out there and give it your best to get that summer job or that employment after you graduate, okay? So, the way to write a CV. Now, most of you probably use the Europass. Europass is fine, but in my honest opinion, most of my clients do not like to use the Europass CV. The reason being, it doesn't give enough detail. One of the points that I have here on the top point, which is the most important, is the key skills area. Now on the Europass, that's at the bottom of the CV, or I think it should be at the top, okay? I'm going to go into more details on that now. So in bullet point format, you have the key skills, the personal details, of course, work experience. Here I've put thesis as well, because some of you may not have had any summer experience, so you need to put something on your CV to show your skills one way or another. So the thesis would be a good thing to add on there as well. Qualification and education. Language skills, personal interests, and then references. So going through these one by one. I've done this as an example. I'm not sure what sort of work experience you guys go out there and get during your summer, but I try to do the sort of more basic roles that you'll be able to get into that we know in the market are out there for students who are looking for summer placements. So the first one I put here was the technical support. The key skills should be anything that you've done that you're really good at. So I always say a CV should be relevant for any job you apply for. So if you're applying for an internship at Lufthansa, for example, because you want to do something around engineering, if your thesis is on engineering and you used some specific tools within that project, that should be one of your key skills. If you're doing IT or software development and you used .NET or whatever, or Java as a technology and you're very good at it, that would go on the top key skills as well. So here I've put as an example technical support, implementing and troubleshooting networks, which you might have done again in some projects or in your thesis. I'm sure most of you do. Working as a team. Obviously the projects that you have throughout your studies, you're working in a team with other students. Software development, as I just mentioned, and the attention to detail. Okay. Personal details. Obviously there's always a Joe Borge, but that's a common sort of thing. It's not my address, so you know. Now, work experience. So, most of you are probably going to say, okay, this looks a bit complicated and none of us would have done that, but this is just an example. And this is the sort of top-notch sort of role. And then later on it gets a bit simpler. So, in this case, customer support. What I've done here, the main area on a Europass that you don't find, which clients are keen to see, is the details, the duties that you have done in that work experience. Most people would put a one-liner. So in this case, if someone was a customer support, they might just put answering the telephone or dealing with customer queries. It needs to be more detailed than that, okay? So you need to sort of say, working in a team, answering in and outgoing calls, troubleshooting, passing on second line or third line support. So as much detail as possible, not one line, because one line won't get you that position that you're applying for, okay? And then also, one thing that I like to see in CVs especially is the tools area. So again, this is not on the Europass, this will probably be at the bottom that says other skills and experiences, which by this time, the person you're sending your CV to, they would have already lost interest because they have to go right to the end of the CV to see the specific area. So under each project, you should list the tools that you have used in that project. So again, if it's your thesis and you've used .NET or you've used Java and you've used Microsoft, you've used Outlook Express and things like that, put those tools at the bottom of that project. If you've done more than one project, which you do, list them one by one. Not everything together. I've done 3 projects and I used Microsoft Office. Break down every single project that you've done, the duration, if you worked in a team, the tools that you used, and give as much brief as you can, okay? This is another example. I actually took this from an engineering student CV that I came across from a couple of years ago. Like I say, most of you will say that it's hard to find summer placements in Malta. I mean, Castille Resources have been around a about 7 years now, and it is true, there's not many summer roles that do come up. But the likes of one of the guys who are outside now is Exaris. They do summer placements. There's a few software houses, Lufthansa do it as well. So you have to give the best CV that you can possibly give to win that position over other students. Okay? Because all of you will probably be applying for 6 or 7 positions that are there. So you need to make yourself the best. So the thesis, the projects you've done, need to be as detailed as possible to make you win that role. Okay? Again, like I said, this was a student's description from his CV, and he went into quite that sort of detail a client would be interested in seeing, rather than just, I don't know, duties, organising a roster for technicians. He's gone into a bit more detail. He's put the tools that he used. He's used an internal system, Microsoft again, and Exchange. All right. In this case, I put the thesis. So, if no one has any work experience whatsoever and they don't know what to put in their CV to show that they have skills, write about your thesis, any projects you've done, any that are relevant. If you've done some small projects that are really not going to get you anywhere in the market, don't go into too much detail. But if you have the tools and technologies in that project, make sure you state them on your CV, because that's the most important. Okay? Education and languages, which is sort of run-of-the-mill, your normal degree. If there's any other certifications that you've done, maybe you've done something in your own time, BCDL is the normal one that's out there, but if you've done some Microsoft certification or Cisco for networks and things like that, put those on there as well. And then your personal interests. Now, on personal interests, you should, if you do something in your own time, on here one of the things I've put is building websites and games, because some people are looking to get into the iGaming industry. Most clients do not take students, summer placements in the iGaming industry, but they do take fresh graduates. Now, if you have an interest in games and want to go into gaming, and in your spare time you sit at home fiddling with games on the internet and trying to build something with your friends, put as much detail about that as well in your profile, because that will give you an edge over anybody else. Okay? A lot of people I see do play games, and I mean, kids, students, and even adults, they play games always on the internet, searching things, building their own websites. Put that on there as well, because that's kind of like a mini work experience. You're doing it in your own time, you're gaining that skills and experience, which again gives you an edge over someone who goes to parties every night. Okay? And the reference, in this case, another John Borch. A lot of John Borches. This is, I just put everything that I've just put on this presentation in one layout. This is how it should look. Now, like I say, the Europass has so many subtitles on the left-hand side, and it doesn't give you enough detail. So if you can, use it as a template in terms of what the titles are that they need, like it says duties, duration, employer. Use those, but try not to use that format, because it is quite annoying for recruiters and for employers to look at. Okay. Now, there's no more slides to show you, but I wanted to speak to you as well about interview skills. Now, I don't know how many of you have been for interviews already, or find it tough, or don't know how to present yourself in interviews. Obviously, I do probably, I'm supposed to do about 10 to 15 a week if my colleague agrees with me, but over the years I've done quite a lot of interviews, and we also give you tips on how to present yourself and questions to ask in interviews. Now, everybody who goes for an interview should be dressed, should be suited at the end of the day. It doesn't matter what company you're going to. If you walk into an iGaming company, it's true, you might see people in there with their casual and their flip-flops on in the summer, and so they can go on the roof and have a suntan in their lunch break. But for an interview, make sure you go suited, and then once you get the position, then you can sort of go in and dress how the others dress. Don't be shy. The best way to present yourself is to be confident. Again, go through your CV. If it helps to have your CV with you whilst you're speaking to the person or the potential employer, make sure you can sort of read through and say, yes, you did this project, yes, this is what it entailed, and these are the sort of areas and tools that you use that really excites you, and how you want to build your career, where you see yourself in 3 to 5 years' time. Please just don't sit there answering yes or no questions. That's the worst thing you can do. And be eager as well. Most people say, well, it's only a summer job, it's only 6 months, whatever, I'll just get the experience and put it on my CV. What's going to make you have an edge over the other person is, number one, your CV, which I just mentioned, and number two, to show that you're really interested couple of hours a week. Just make sure you're the person they want for that position. Give as much enthusiasm. Yeah, it's really interesting. You know, I can do all this. I've done this in my project, and just show that you're really keen for that role. Okay. Now, when it comes to questions, 9 times out of 10, the client will say, "Do you have any questions?" "No, I think you answered everything." That's the standard answer. Make sure you answer or you ask something, because if you don't, they'll say, "Okay, this person's not enthusiastic. They've done no research on our company. Do you even know what position you're applying for?" Even if it's some internship just for 6 months, as I mentioned, make sure you know that role inside and out. Make sure you know what your responsibilities will be. Do your research on the company. See how many employees they have. Ask if they do any sort of training once people are employed there. Do they do any sort of, they sponsor any kind of training? Don't bring it all around money, because otherwise they'll think you're greedy and just want a good salary. But try to be, use your own initiative to ask them questions and make sure you know what the company's expecting from you. I don't know how many, I'm sure I'm not going to get people asking, yes, it was me, but how many of you have been for interviews and sort of found it difficult and not known? Any show of hands? No one's been for an interview then? No? None of you? Up the top? No? Okay, alright. Well, like I say, we give interview tips as well, so if anyone, I mean, I'm going to be outside, if anyone wishes to speak to me, I'll be very happy for you to come by the office and we'll give you some tips on how to present yourself. It's true that if you're that kind of person and you're shy and you don't know how to present yourself, it can be tough. But if you are that way, you just say, well, this person's never going to see me again, I might as well give my best, even if I make a total ass of myself. You can just sort of get out there and sort of give them your best so that you're the selected person for that position, okay? Any questions? No? Then I'll say thank you very much.